All right, what's happening, my mathletes? That's right, Mr. Muscarella coming at you. And in this video, we are going to take a look at working with trig identities to simplify expressions. So let's just kind of review real quickly. We had our little, fundamental trig identities and reciprocal identities, all sorts of things going on here. So we'll be using those and working with the following problemas. So when you look at them, there's a couple things you want to notice. One, look here at this angle. We've got 40 degrees, that's 40, and so is that, yay. So they're all the same angle. Recognizing that, all we do is say, all right, bro, we got you. Sine over cosine is the same thing. This is a real fancy way of just saying, is it tangent or cotangent? That's right, that's going to be tangent. So I have the tangent of 40 minus the tangent of 40. And we all know if we have two quantities that are the same and we subtract them, we get a value of 0. Boom. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Not too hard. Now let's take a look at example 2. Ooh, we got some fractions here. Now, again, you want to analyze the angles. They are both pi over 10, so that's pretty good. So now we look at cosine squared and cosecant squared. Now, cosecant squared, what is the reciprocal function for cosecant? Ooh, that's right, it's sine squared. So what happens is we would rewrite this to say, all right, that's cosine squared of pi over 10. And then 1 over cos squared pi over 10 becomes a sine squared of pi over 10. Now both of those are the same angles. So when you take cosine squared plus sine squared, that is one of our fundamental trig identities. It has a value of 1. I call that one the mama bear 1 because that's the big one. Sine squared plus cos squared equals 1. Now, if those angles were different, like if one was pi over 10, the other was 3 pi over 10, you could not do that. So the angles have to be the same. Now, let's take a look at this one. Sine squared 72 plus cosine squared 72. Again, both of these angles right here, ooh, that's the same as that angle. So sine squared plus cosine squared is 1. Thank you for playing. Now, ooh, I got this guy over here, tangent of 88 minus sine 88 over cosine 88. Now, sine divided by cosine, again, sine divided by cosine is a real fancy way of saying tangent. So this would be the tangent of 88. So if I have tangent of 88 minus another tangent of 88 degrees, we just end up with 0. And let's slide over this guy, cosine of 65 and secant of 65. Now again, there's two ways you can do this depending on which one you want to recognize as the reciprocal. I'm going to go with secant being the reciprocal. So that means cosine will stay the same. And secant is going to become 1 over cosine 65 degrees. Now, notice we've got two values there, cosine of 65, and then we got 1 over cosine of 65. When we find that product, it's just 1. Now, if we would have done that a little bit differently, like, oh, let me take cosine and make the reciprocal, use the reciprocal of that, and said, well, I'm going to make that 1 over secant of 65. So that would be my first replacement. And then just leave that as secant of 65. Either way, I still get 1. So then let's take a look at cotangent and tangent of pi over 7. Now again, both of these guys are reciprocals, cotangent and tangent. The angle value is the same. They're both pi over 7. So if I were to multiply a number and it's reciprocal, again, we get 1. So I'm going to make cotangent maybe 1 over tangent of pi over 7 times tangent of pi over 7. So anytime we have a number times its reciprocal, we get a value of 1. Booyah. And then lastly here, cotangent squared minus cosecant squared. So on this one, we're going to have to do a little trigonometry substitution there from one of our fundamental trig identities. Go ahead and pause. Let me know which one you substitute out and what your final result is. When you're ready, come on back. All right, so how do we do with that one? Now, again, there's two ways you could approach this one, depending on which trig substitution you make. So maybe you took out the cosecant squared and replaced it with 1 plus cotangent squared. Okay, cool. If you do that, you'll end up getting negative 1. And be really careful here, because you want to make sure you put parentheses around the trig function that you're substituting. So that identity is 1 plus cotangent squared. Because if you were to just write that as so this, if you were to write this, instead say cotangent squared 25 minus, and then 1 plus cotangent squared 25, like that does not give you negative 1 as a value, because you can see These two guys right here, cotangent squared 25, and this other they would combine and give you two cotangent squareds, which is incorrect. So please, watch yourself. Check your signs to do that. Now, that's only if you replace the cosecant squared. But say, on the other hand, you want to get rid of the first term, cotangent squared. You could have done it like this, bro. We got you. So cotangent squared, if that goes out, cosecant squared 25 degrees minus 1 goes in. And again, parentheses round the substitution. And then, of course, cosecant squared is 25. You got 1 over on this side, 1 on the other side. You're subtracting them. They are gone. And you end up with -1. Now, if this were a quiz, right, because we like quizzes, we want to know how we're being graded. So you get 1 point definitely for showing the substitution, 1 point for the final answer. Now, on simpler ones like number 3, like you just have to get the right answer. That's all you got. But if you have to make a substitution, you've got to show the substitution before you get to the answer. So take your time and do that for those, because these would also have a substitution point as well as an answer point. And same thing for number 5 as well as number 10 and 9. So that's how you would, if that would be scored, and sometimes the answer point might be worth 2 if there's only 1 substitution point. So it may vary from teacher to teacher, but make sure that you show your work, because you want to check yourself before you wreck yourself, and don't just put an answer down and be like, yo, I got it, bro, I did it, I photo mapped that, whatevs. No, you got to show your work. No work, no points for you. All right, thank you guys for watching. As always, make it a great day, and I'll catch up with you soon. Always grateful to have you here. Much love.